Hi, my name is Bethany, and today we're going to go over a little bit about communications. The first thing we're going to talk about is communicating with coworkers and your supervisors. It's extremely important because we all want a good work environment. If you guys get out your communication books, it's this book right here. It says Personal Development, and we're going to turn to Chapter 7. Which begins on page 138. And we are going to talk about fitting in and getting along. Okay, so like I said previously, getting a good work environment is crucial, right? Nobody wants to go to work Monday through Friday and not have a positive experience, okay? It's not only going to reflect on your personal life, but it will also reflect on the care that you provide your patients. Okay, if you look on page 138, we're going to first talk about positive traits to acquire. So, with that being said, getting along with others requires tolerance, respect, and courtesy. I'm on the old adage of if you respect me, I respect you. Okay, respect is earned, not just automatically given, but we do want to have that in our work environment, right? Other personal traits are also valued in the workplace. Consider them value-added qualities because they add value to your current skills and abilities. These characteristics include cheerfulness, a sense of humor, which I feel like is very crucial in healthcare, tact, empathy, dependability, resourcefulness, and team spirit, okay? It's best if you work in healthcare as a team, right? We don't want to put one above the other. We all work as a team. If everybody pulls in and provides the most adequate care, then the clinic is going to run smoothly. So the first thing we're going to talk about is cheerfulness. I'm not saying you have to be Mary Sunshine. However, and I talked about in last chapter, chapter 6, we need to be positive, okay? Positivity is key in healthcare because, like I said, negativity spreads like a disease, okay? So, cheerfulness is a state of mind or an inner attitude, okay? Like a positive attitude, cheerfulness is contagious, okay? I've seen it time and time again. I will room a patient and they'll be grumpy, and they'll just be kind of, I don't want to do this. And I just am kind and cheerful. I'm not over the top about it, but I'm very positive. And eventually, they kind of turn around and they realize they're kind of sounding negative themselves, and they might do a complete 180 and they become positive themselves. The next one we're going to talk about is sense of humor. Okay, granted, we have to maintain professionalism. We have to make sure that our patients know that we're being professional, but there's also a time and a place for sense of humor, right? And not only with our patients, but with our coworkers. If you don't have a good sense of humor and you're not willing to just joke or laugh around, it's going to make a very boring work environment. So humor is healthy in the workplace as long as it contributes to your professional image, okay? So we don't want any jokes that are off color. We don't want any statements about politics or religion. However, if you want to play a joke on somebody, as long as it's not malicious or mean, it's all in good office fun. But you have to make sure that it's politically and professionally correct. Tact. If you look on page 139, it's in big bold letters. It says tact is sensitivity to what is appropriate in dealing with others, including the ability to speak or act without offending others. Okay? I've heard a lot of times patient or even my family members will say, oh, they have no tact. Okay, and what they're talking about is basically appropriate ways of speaking or performing in public settings, okay? Down at the bottom of page 139, it talks about empathy. Empathy is a huge one, especially if you work in a clinic such as oncology. if you work in something like transplant, any of those type of things, empathy is huge. You should be empathetic at all times in healthcare, but these fields especially, you need to have some empathy with. And empathy is the ability to look at situations through the eyes of others, to walk in another's shoes. Okay? As healthcare workers, I feel like we forget these things until it personally happens to you or a family member. A good example of this is when I first started out in my healthcare career, looking back, I don't think I was very empathetic. I did not look into how my patients were feeling, how I provided care to them, how did that make them feel. And then my mom got breast cancer. And I had to witness my mom being taken care of by multiple healthcare workers, and it really opened my eyes to the fact that not only does empathy go a long way with the patient, but also the family. So it really made me reevaluate myself as a healthcare professional and how I deal with my patients. And I always think, would this be how my mom needs to be treated, or is this how I would want to be treated? Okay, so empathy goes a long way when it comes to healthcare. The next one we're going to talk about is on page 140, and it deals with dependability. Dependability is huge, okay, especially with coworkers, okay? You want to work with people that you know are going to be dependable. They're not going to call off all the time. They're not going to show up late. They're not going to be lazy, okay? Dependability is crucial, okay? Just as you depend on others, they depend on you to get the work done effectively and efficiently. Consider it a huge compliment if someone describes you as being dependable. Demonstrate dependability by being as good as your word, meeting deadlines, and being at work every day and on time. On time is crucial. That's why here at MTI we uphold dress code policy and also attendance. We want you to be related to the real world, okay? In healthcare, you need to show that you're dependable. You need to be on work on time. You need to be prepared. You need to be giving it your all, okay? It's not only going to be a reflection on your patients, but your coworkers, okay? I'm sure you've all worked in jobs where you had that one coworker that just wasn't dependable, okay? And did you really enjoy working with them? Probably not. So do you not want to, I don't want to be that person, do you? Okay, the next one we're going to talk about is on page 141, and it's resourcefulness. So solutions to problems and situations that you encounter are not always obvious. Some situations may require you to be resourceful, to use creativity and ingenuity to resolve the problem or deal with the situation. A resourceful person is persistent in asking questions. What is the real problem? What resources are available? Who else has information that might help us? Is ways of solving problems. They experiment and improvise. They take risks. And most important of all, a resourceful person never gives up. Okay? I'm pretty sure a lot of you guys out there are probably some form of resourcefulness, right? We all have it in us. The next one is team spirit. And it is not necessary to be on a formal team to exhibit team spirit. You exhibit team spirit when you commit to company and department goals and cultivate positive relationships with others. Like, you will have this a lot in any work situation. The team spirit people are the ones that they're willing to help out. What can I do to help you? If you seem like you're really stressed out or behind, they're going to be the ones that come up to you and say, is there anything I can help you with? Can I help you with this? Okay, they're the can-do attitudes. They're the cheerleaders of the workplace. All right, if you turn to page 142, we talked about a lot of positive points. But this one we're going to talk about is the negatives. There's always the pro and con, right? Okay, so resentment is the first negative trait we're going to talk about. And I do want to point out, it says in there, negative traits to avoid, all right? So I'm not saying, like I said, we don't have to be Mary Sunshine all the time. However, in a work environment, it's good to kind of stay away from the negativity. Okay? So the first negative trait we're going to talk about is resentment. So resentment is a feeling of displeasure, ill will, and deep anger over something you believe correctly or incorrectly. To be wrong or an insult to you, complaining or whining are examples of resentment expressed openly. Okay? You can get this a lot with coworkers. There's always those ones that they are disgruntled about something and they're constantly complaining about it. And I don't know if they realize, but you have to listen to that. And like I've been saying, negativity spreads. So if you're constantly hearing someone complain and whine about something that they feel is just not right and they didn't like the way that was handled and they didn't like this and that, it's going to change the mood and the morale of the clinic, right? It's going to make everybody just go down in the positivity and kind of stay there with the negative vibe. The next one on page 143 is irritating habits. Okay, so like it or not, you may have irritating habits that you need to eliminate to fit in and get along. Many irritating habits are little things, but in a busy work environment where many people are stressed, an irritating habit may put someone over the edge. Okay, I think everybody has their quirks. I don't know what mine is personally. I've never had anybody come up and tell me I had an irritating habit, but I would hope that they would tell me that if it was really bothering them. I have worked with several coworkers. The only one that comes to the top of my mind is I had a coworker that hummed a lot. She always, like when she was thinking or typing something, she would hum, and she would subconsciously do it. Like she didn't realize that she was humming, but she would always hum a song. And it wasn't even like an up-to-date song. It was like a nursery rhyme or something like that. So it can be rather irritating when you have to hear somebody hum a song 24/7. Okay. So obviously we politely, I didn't just come up to her and say, hey, you're humming, stop that. Okay. I politely told her that I didn't know if she realized that she was humming. And she apologized and she said she had no idea that she was doing that. But I did do that in a positive way. See how I did that? Okay. If you turn to page 144, the negative traits continue. We got envy and jealousy. All right, green with envy. Jealousy is a feeling of rivalry towards one who you believe has an advantage over you. This happens a lot in workplaces because, you know, somebody gets promoted, somebody got a bonus, and you felt like they didn't deserve it, okay? But it's not your place to be envy or jealous because it's not going to make a good work environment, right? And you're going to have some animosity between you and that fellow coworker. And is that going to be a good clinic vibe? Probably not. The next one is self-pity. Self-pity is feeling sorry for yourself without looking at the good things in your life. And then the last one is, and this is a big one, is gossip. Okay? I'm not going to lie, everybody likes a little tidbit of gossip. Okay? But sometimes it spreads like wildfire, and then the next thing you know, everybody's gossiping and nobody's getting any work done. Okay, so gossip spread by the company grapevine or rumor mill is a form of communication that must be considered as you study fitting in and getting along. All right, gossip distracts workers, wastes valuable work time, causes anxiety, and can result in hurtful rumors. Okay, gossip tends to surface when people are curious about a situation and the facts are not available. All right, it's kind of like the telephone game. I feel like if I get some gossip at work, I'm probably almost 100% sure that it's not completely accurate. Why? Because it's probably been passed around from person to person. And then, is it actually true? Okay. And also, I kind of feel like personally, gossip is kind of a form of bullying. And it gives a very negative vibe. So if at all possible, try to avoid the gossip. Okay. Because you have to think about, would you want people gossiping about you behind your section of chapter 7, we're going to talk a little bit about becoming a team player. Because in healthcare, when we work in clinics, we work as a team. The team includes you as the medical assistant, the physician, the nurse, your fellow medical assistant coworkers, lab, x-ray, I mean, you name it. It completes all these players and we create one team, okay? And we have to be a team player in order for the team to work effectively. A team is an identifiable group of people who are committed to a common purpose for which they hold themselves accountable. The difference between a team and a group is that team members depend on each other for the team's overall performance. A real team is a group of individuals who are committed to working together to achieve common goals. Most likely, they are not all equal in experience, talent, or education, but they are equal in one vitally important way, their commitment to the good of the organization. Teamwork refers to people working together cooperatively to accomplish established team goals and objectives. And if you look off to the side there in figure 7-2, it gives some advantages and disadvantages of working in teams, because there's always pros and cons to everything. All right. If you turn to page 149, we're going to talk about being a team player. What is a team player? I'm glad you asked. So a team player is someone who emphasizes group accomplishments and cooperation rather than individual achievements. Okay, what are the characteristics of a good team player? Well, it's kind of like all those positive traits we talked about earlier. Cheerfulness, sense of humor, tact, empathy, dependability, and resourcefulness. I feel like we just heard those things. So, as a team player, we're committed to a common goal, right? It is important of us to know that the team needs their contributions and are committed to a common goal, all right? We like to share information and ideas, and we like to praise those who did a good job, right? Because sometimes people do things and they just need a little bit of praise. They need a little, like, that a boy or that good job, okay? And then also cooperates and supports. So cooperation is the foundation of an effective team. Let other members of the team know that you support them and have genuine concern for them. A good team player thinks in terms of we instead of I. And there's no I in team, so they say. If you look on page 151, it talks about change, okay? So we have to embrace change. Flexibility and adaptability are key characteristics of a good team player. I feel like it's a good characteristic in healthcare because I don't know how many times I've gone to work and I never know what I'm going to see or room or anything like that day. Healthcare is ever evolving, okay? So if you are a medical assistant in the healthcare career, you have to be one of those that are flexible and adapt to change, okay? The workplace is constantly changing and workers must adapt, okay? That's just part of the job. If you look down at the bottom of page 151, it says, what is a virtual team? So a virtual team is a group of people physically separated by time and or space, and whose members primarily interact electronically in cyberspace. Examples of virtual teams include individuals working at different geographic locations and a team whose members work or telecommute from home. So this is a prime example right here. We're a virtual team. I'm the instructor, you all are the students, we're a virtual team, okay? If you work in a healthcare setting, because of the pandemic, we're doing a lot of remote care. There's a lot of telehealth. And so that is another example of a virtual team. Okay, if you look at page 153, we're going to talk a little bit about working with your supervisor. Okay, so we